All right, let's dive in. Today, we're tackling I Will Teach You to Be Rich.
Ooh, a classic.
Yeah. And don't worry, this isn't about pinching pennies or giving up lattes.
Right, it's way more than that.
Exactly. This book is about building systems. Systems that honestly kind of make you rich without even trying.
I like the sound of that.
Right. So you can actually, enjoy life and focus on the stuff you love. And to help us break it all down, we've got our expert who can untangle even the messiest finances.
Well, I'll try my best.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Yes.
And speaking of messy, the book starts off strong. It compares our relationship with money to, get this, food.
Food.
Yeah. We kind of just ignore it, then overspend, and then rely on these crazy, financial crash diets.
Oh, I totally see that. It's like those fad diets. Quick fix, doesn't work long term.
Exactly. And the book calls out this whole thing as, are you ready for this? Invisible money scripts.
Invisible money scripts. Okay, tell me more.
So these are basically beliefs we have about money, right?
Yeah.
But they're often unconscious. We don't even realize they're there, but they're totally shaping our behavior.
Interesting. So how do these invisible scripts actually play out, in real life?
Well, think about it. Have you ever, avoided opening your bills?
Oh, all the time. I get that pit in my stomach just seeing the envelopes.
Right. So that could be, a script where bills equal stress, so you avoid them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or, maybe you tell yourself you'll never be able to buy a house, but you haven't even, looked at the numbers.
Right, just assuming the worst.
Exactly. And that's another script that might be holding you back.
Wow, I'm already feeling seen by this book.
Right. It gets deep. And it's kind of scary, but the book also says that most people don't even know how much debt they have.
Oh, yeah, it's a bit unnerving.
For even, when they'll pay it off.
Yeah. I can see how those invisible scripts would lead to that, right? We're on autopilot, just avoiding those hard questions.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Awareness is step one. Once you see those hidden beliefs, those scripts.
Then you can start to challenge them.
Exactly. And then make smarter choices.
Okay, that makes sense. So being aware of those scripts is key. But how do we actually find them? Where do we even start?
That's a great question. And it's something we're going to dig into more as we go through the book. But first, let's switch gears a bit. The book also spends a lot of time talking about early investing and, the magic of compound interest.
Ah, yes, the eighth wonder of the world.
Right. And they have this great story comparing smart Sally, who starts investing at 35, to dumb Dan, who waits till 45.
So even though Dan invests for twice as long,
Sally ends up way ahead because she started earlier. That's compound interest in action.
it's like a snowball effect, right? The earlier you start, the bigger that snowball gets.
Exactly. And it can make a huge difference in the long run. The book even shows, charts and stuff with the potential gains from investing even small amounts weekly. Imagine what you could achieve if you started today.
Now, don't forget, you can find a link to the full book in the description or pinned comment so you can follow along.
Exactly. Now I know it can feel kind of overwhelming to start investing, especially if you feel like you're already behind.
Sure, and a lot of people might think, well, what's the point? It's too late for me.
But the book really emphasizes that it is never, ever too late.
Seriously, even if you're in your 40s, 50s, starting now is better than waiting.
Every dollar counts.
Every penny. But what I find really unique about this book is that it's not just about, one-time actions. It's about building systems.
Ooh, yes. Systems, not just quick fixes.
Exactly. It's like setting up your finances to work for you automatically so you don't have to think about it all the time.
Okay, that's the dream.
Right. And one of the key systems it focuses on is, you guessed it, credit cards.
Ah, the double-edged sword.
For sure. But it's not about demonizing them. It's about using them strategically, like negotiating lower interest rates.
Ooh, I like that.
Automating payments so you're never late. It even shares a story about someone who negotiated a better interest rate using the script from the book. Just imagine how much you could save by just making a phone call.
That is amazing. I'm already feeling more empowered just thinking about it. Okay, so we've got those invisible scripts, we've got the magic of compound interest, and we've got credit cards as a tool.
Right. And that's just the beginning. This book really dives deep into creating a system that works for you long term.
Well, I am hooked. So, what else does this book have in store for us?
Let's talk about another crucial part of the system, bank accounts. It's all about choosing the right accounts. Ones with high interest rates, but low fees.
Oh yeah, those pesky fees can really add up.
Tell me about it. And, it's amazing how much you can save just by being a little proactive. Remember that story in the book about the woman who saved, $250 in ATM fees.
Wait, really? Just from ATM fees?
All she did was ask her bank to waive them. Simple as that.
Wow, the power of asking. See, this is why I love this book. It's full of these little golden nuggets.
Right. It's all about those little wins that add up over time.
Exactly. So we've got our credit cards sorted. We're being smart with our bank accounts. What about, like, actual investing?
Ah, yes. The fun part. This is where we start putting those accounts we talked about to work.
Okay, let's do it. I'm ready to make my money work for me.
That's the spirit. The book really focuses on retirement accounts like 401ks and Roth IRAs.
Okay, Roth IRAs. I feel like I
Yeah.
hear that term everywhere, but I'm still a little fuzzy on the details. Can you break it down for me?
Sure. So basically, with a Roth IRA, you contribute money that you've already paid taxes on.
Okay, got it.
But here's the kicker. Any growth within that account is tax-free.
Wait, so when I retire and start withdrawing, I don't have to pay taxes on those earnings?
Exactly. It's a pretty sweet deal.
Okay, that is awesome. I'm definitely going to look into that.
You should. The book even talks about robo-advisors as an option for investing.
Oh yeah, robo-advisors. Those are like those automated platforms, right?
Exactly. They manage your portfolio for you based on, like, your risk tolerance and goals.
So they're kind of like a hands-off approach.
Pretty much. They're good for people who maybe don't want to, like... We suggest using a discount brokerage.
Why is that?
Well, because with a discount brokerage, you get more control over your investments, and usually the fees are lower. But a core principle, regardless of what you choose, is to start early and invest consistently. Remember, compound interest is your best friend.
Smart Sally and Dumb Dan. That story really drove home the point of starting early. But honestly, some people might feel like it's already too late. Like, oh, I should have started years ago. What's the point now?
The book talks about that. It calls it the victim mentality, and it encourages readers to focus on what they can control.
I like that.
It challenges all those excuses, like being too young, too old, not having enough money. There's even a part where it calls out people who complain about saving but haven't even bothered to, read a basic finance book.
Oh, true.
A little tough love.
Yeah, but I think we all need a little tough love sometimes. So besides retirement accounts, does the book talk about, different types of investments, like stocks and bonds and all that? Because honestly, that stuff can feel really confusing.
Totally. But don't worry, the book breaks it all down in a way that's actually easy to understand. It explains, why diversification is so important.
Diversification meaning?
Spreading your risk across different asset classes. So, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket.
Makes sense. So that means investing in, stocks, bonds, maybe some real estate?
Right. And it really emphasizes the power of index funds.
Index funds, those are...
They're basically like baskets of stocks that track a specific market index, like the S&P 500.
Okay, I'm vaguely familiar with those.
They're really great because they're a low-cost way to invest, and they're already diversified. And you know what? Research shows they consistently outperform actively managed funds over the long term.
Really? So this book is kind of, challenging that whole idea of relying on financial advisors.
It does. It argues that most people can actually do better by investing on their own, using index funds, and, it even exposes some of the hidden fees and conflicts of interest in the financial industry.
Ooh, juicy. So the book is advocating for a more DIY approach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about empowering people to manage their own money and avoid those unnecessary middlemen. It even walks you through, choosing funds, setting up automatic investments.
Automation, that's another big theme in this book, right?
Yeah, automation is key because it takes the emotion and the guesswork out of it. You set it up once, and then it just runs in the background.
So basically, you're putting your finances on autopilot.
Exactly. But I imagine, staying disciplined and ignoring all the market noise, that can be tough.
Oh, for sure, especially with all the news and headlines and everything.
Right. But the book reminds us that investing is a long game. It's about riding out those short-term fluctuations and focusing on the big picture. It even talks about how trying to time the market can actually hurt your returns.
Oh, yeah, like that example where missing just a few of the best trading days can totally tank your overall returns.
Yep, exactly. It's a good reminder to stay the course.
Stay the course.
Uh-huh.
I like that. Now, I know we've been talking a lot about numbers and investing and all that, but the book also acknowledges that achieving a rich life goes beyond just money.
Absolutely. It's about designing a life you love, right?
Right. It talked about spending extravagantly on things you love and cutting costs ruthlessly on the things you don't.
It's all about aligning your spending with your values and your priorities, making sure your money is working for you, not the other way around.
Love that.
And
And I think that's what makes this book so refreshing. It's not just about deprivation. It's about being intentional with your money.
exactly. And, it even dives into some less conventional topics like negotiating a prenup or helping your parents if they're struggling with debt.
Wow, those are some heavy topics, but important ones.
Right. It shows that personal finance isn't just about like individual needs. It's about those bigger conversations, with the people you care about.
Definitely. So before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, let's just do a quick recap. We talked about optimizing credit cards and bank accounts, the power of early investing, and the benefits of index funds.
Right. And we even touched on that, maybe slightly controversial idea of going DIY with your investments.
Exactly. And we explored the whole concept of a rich life, going beyond just the numbers.
Thinking about your values, your priorities, and really designing a life that you love.
Love it. And don't forget, you can find a link to the full book in the description or pinned comment. Okay, so much good stuff already, but there's more, right?
Oh, definitely. We've only just scratched the surface. There's a whole section on negotiation.
Negotiation. See, that's where I get intimidated.
I get it. A lot of people do, but the book really breaks it down and makes it, approachable.
Well, that's good to hear, because I feel like negotiating is like this superpower that I just don't have.
You totally do. It's a skill, not a superpower. And like any skill, you can learn it.
Okay, I like that. So what's the book's approach?
Well, first of all, it emphasizes that negotiation isn't about being, pushy or aggressive.
Right, because nobody likes that.
Exactly. It's about being prepared, doing your research, and having confidence.
Confidence is key.
Totally. It's about knowing your worth and being able to communicate it effectively and, being willing to walk away.
Ooh, walk away. That's powerful.
It is. It gives you leverage and shows you're serious. The book even has, scripts for different scenarios, like asking for a raise or, even haggling with a car dealer.
Scripts. That is so helpful, especially for someone like me who, gets flustered easily.
Exactly. Having those scripts can give you that extra boost of confidence. Now, speaking of big purchases, the book also tackles things like buying a car or a house.
Oh, yeah, this is the biggies.
Yep.
And honestly, they can feel super overwhelming.
For sure. But the book encourages us to, really think differently about these purchases.
Differently? How so?
Well, for example, with cars, it really pushes for buying used instead of new.
Used. Interesting.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense financially. And of course, negotiating, always negotiating. And then keeping your car for as long as possible.
So it's about being strategic and not just following that trend of getting a new car every few years.
Exactly. And, it even challenges that assumption that everyone needs to own a car.
Right. What about public transportation, ride sharing, all that?
Exactly. It's about finding what works best for your lifestyle and your financial goals.
Okay, makes sense. Now, what about buying a house? That's the ultimate dream for a lot of people.
It is. But the book is, realistic about it. It stresses the importance of being financially prepared.
Prepared meaning?
Having a good-sized down payment, understanding different types of mortgages, and not stretching yourself too thin.
Right, because that can lead to a lot of stress.
Exactly. And, it even suggests that renting might be a better option for some people.
Really? Renting?
Yeah, especially if you're not planning to, settle down in one place for a long time. It's about making the best decision for your individual circumstances, not just following, the American dream script.
Okay, so challenging those assumptions again. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm also really curious about what the book says about money and relationships.
Ah, yes. That's a big one.
Because let's be real, money can be a huge source of tension in relationships.
It totally can. But the book provides a really great framework for navigating those conversations.
Ooh, tell me more.
Well, it starts with, open and honest communication, setting clear expectations, and finding a system that works for both partners.
Okay, so communication is key. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But does it cover the really tough stuff, dealing with debt in a relationship or even prenups?
Yes, it actually does. It normalizes those conversations and gives practical advice on how to approach them with clarity and respect.
So basically, don't avoid those tough conversations.
Exactly. Because having them early on can prevent bigger problems down the road.
That is some sage advice. Okay, so as we wrap up here, it sounds like this book really is a holistic guide to personal finance.
It totally is. It covers everything from managing your day-to-day spending to making those big life decisions. And it even helps you have those sometimes awkward but oh so important money conversations with your loved ones.
And it's not just about the numbers, right?
Right. It's about living a rich life, as the book says. Investing in experiences, nurturing relationships, and spending on the things that truly matter to you.
Exactly. It's about creating a life that's both financially secure and personally fulfilling.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, this deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about. I'm feeling inspired and ready to take control of my finances.
That's what we like to hear.
And for those of you listening who want to learn more, be sure to check out the full book. You can find a link in the description or pinned comment. We highly recommend it.
Absolutely. It's full of practical tips and inspiring stories.
Now we want to hear from you. What resonated with you the most? Share your thoughts and takeaways in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most fascinating books and ideas. Until next time.